What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trading Learning 101. It is April 16th, Tuesday, and let's jump into the market recap. When I got in today and opened up the trading platform, I seen the VIX gap down just a little bit from the previous day, down to 12 right here. All the futures were up this morning. The SPY futures, the NASDAQ futures, the Dow Jones futures. You could see it right here with the SPY gapping up, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones right here gapping up. But as soon as the market opened, even with stocks, we got a quick morning spike. A little first 10 minutes of the market open, stocks spiked, and then we just got a sell-off. You could see the SPY just slowly giving back all of its gains. The NASDAQ's just pretty choppy today, up and down. And the Dow Jones just slowly selling off and giving back all of its gains after the gap up. And we're in the heart of earnings season right now. So every day, the list of earnings, of companies putting out earnings, is just going to get longer and longer. And it's just going to distribute volume even greater and in more areas. There was only 2 stocks on my watch list this morning, RNN, and what was the other one? RWLK. And both of those were pretty much just turds. But going into earnings season, let me pull up the earnings real quick. The earnings calendar, we got all the banks reporting today. We got Bank of America, a few more banks. I know Netflix is reporting earnings after the market close. We had Johnson & Johnson reporting today. I know Johnson & Johnson beat expectations, and I know Bank of America fell short of its earnings. And Bank of America is down right now, 0.67%. What did they say about the, yeah, Bank of America misses its revenues forecasts. And then let me see Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson stock is rising because of earnings showed the good far outweighed the bad. Let's take a look at Johnson & Johnson real quick. I added it to my watch list. Remember back, it was like 2 months ago, Johnson & Johnson came out with, let me see where it's at, J&J right here. Back right here in this area, when Johnson & Johnson came out, they found asbestos or something in their powder, and the shares just tumbled from 148 all the way down to a low of 121. And since then, it's been able to grind all the way back up to 140. And then today, they get a nice gap up, and it's coming right up to this resistance right up here at 140. And then let's zoom in on the intraday chart. You see it gaps up, market opens, gets a quick spike, and just starts surging up, and it's double topping currently right now at this 140 level. But we had RNN that was on the watch list this morning for the penny stock world. Great gap up from 525, and it triple tops right up here at 922. You can see it just got a real quick spike and then just continued making lower lows and just fizzled out. Same thing with RWLK. We get a nice gap up, sells off, starts to grind back up towards the open. Market opens, and then it just spikes from 4 up to 450. We get a nice bounce right here at 425, double tops at 450, and then after that it crashes through this support right here, and again just fizzles out. Started making lower highs and lower lows, and it looks like it's trying to consolidate right here at this $4 area, but I just don't see the volume in it or anything, and we're starting to go into lunch hours. That's when we're going to start losing volume. We're in earnings season. It can be tough to trade low cap stocks when you're in earnings season, so you just got to take what you can get, and not every day is going to be great for small caps. A lot of people are going to have their focus on all these companies with their long-term portfolios. That's where the volume's going to be. People are going to be looking into these companies and preparing for the earnings. But then we also had, let me see, RWLK. There was something on the daily chart I wanted to see. Yeah, right here. This is the daily chart for RWLK. You could see at one point it was up to $26, and then it just sold off right here. Look at that nasty sell-off. And then it got a huge gap down right here. And then it started to grind all the way back up. Almost did a gap fill, and then just continued to sell off again. And it's just an ugly looking daily chart. You get even a little bit more of a gap down right here. But you got to think of all the long-term people who are stuck in this stock. People who bought all right here. People who bought all right here. You know, they're going to want to get out anytime this thing just pops up. And the float, I believe, is pretty big on RWLK. Let me pull it up. I think it's 43 million. Oh my goodness, I got this all messed up. No, the flow actually on RWLK is 2.9 million with an average true range of 0.48 cents. But as soon as RWLK opened this morning, I'm watching the tape on it. I was watching the tape on this thing. There was so much buying going into this thing. The first minute, let's see, the first 2 minutes, it had 1.6 million in volume. And there was just so much volume going into it, and it just wasn't lifting. Somebody was holding this stock back from just exploding up. So as soon as I seen all the buying wasn't going anywhere and it wasn't lifting with how much of a low float that it is, and it double topping here and it just couldn't get over 450, I just gave up on it and just said screw it. I'm not even going to try to attempt getting in on this thing. The tape was just giving so many hints with all the buyers and the low float, and it just wasn't lifting. It was just bound to not go anywhere. RNN was the one that was the bigger float. And it's still the top percentage gainer. Yeah, the float on RNN is 47 million. So you got to think, with the float that big, it's going to take a lot of volume for this thing to get going. A lot of volume. And then same thing as RWLK. Look at all these, it's just an ugly looking chart. You got a big gap down right here. You got a gap fill right here. See how it gapped down? continued to sell off, and then it just ramped up, did its gap fill, and then it just had a nasty sell off again and another huge gap down. Consolidates all this, gets another gap down, and then it gaps up again. And same thing like RWLK. You got to go back and think of all the long term on this. All the people who bought all right here, all right here, and all right here who are stuck in this stock. Anytime this stock gaps up, they're going to want to get out. And that's what happened today. And this thing ran right up to this 100-day moving average right here. And it just sold right down. And it triple topped right there at $9.19. If this thing could have held over $9 and $9 hold as support, or even $8.50, if even $8.50 held as support, this thing would have had a chance. But now that it broke through $8.50, people just gave up on it, and it's just going to fizzle out. There was another one, TIGR. Look at this thing. This is a recently new IPO. Going from today, $19 to a high now of $22. Look at this thing since it's opened. On the daily chart, it's just a huge ramp up. From March 20th when it opened at $8. This thing's at $22 now. This one's probably one of the best IPOs of 2019. And that's my opinion, though. And you can look at the 30-minute here. Just look at that. Big spike up, grinding its way up right here, making higher lows and higher highs. Then you get a little consolidation right here, and then just a ramp straight up. More consolidating right here, and then another huge ramp up from 15 up to 22. And then FTFT. This is why you keep stocks on your list that ran 3, 4, 5 days ago. Look at the daily. You see it had this big gap up right here and a quick spike. This was a great day for FTFT right here. Look at that range. From $1.75 to a high of $2.85. And then after that, it just continued to sell off and sell off for the next 2 days. Down to $1.50. And we just got a good bounce. You got to think of these stocks like a trampoline. You put pressure down and down and down and down on something, it's going to snap and pop up. And that's what happened today. Right here. From $1.50, this had a good run to $2. All right, what else did we have today? RBZ, just another quick pop today. From 525 up to 575. It's just starting to fizzle out. Look at this chart. This is the daily. This is just a low flow pump and dump. That's all it is. And then that's pretty much about it. ATAI, I wanted to keep this on my watch list. I just like the way that this is pulling back and consolidating. I think this could possibly have another run if it can get above $3. We'll see. But always keep stocks from 3, 4, 5, 2 weeks ago. Big percentage gainers. The top stocks of the day from 2 weeks ago. Always on your list. Because you never know. They could set up on the daily and set up a pattern what that traders look for. And that's what it's all about. Just being here every day, observing all these stocks, adding and removing stocks from your watch list, and seeing what patterns you know and study and see if they present themselves. Because that's what traders do. They just look for patterns all day and capitalize on those patterns. But other than that, nothing's really too much going on. Like I said, each day now that we get more and more into earnings season, the earnings list just is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to distribute volume more. We could see a rally at the end of the day for the market. But right now, the market is just making, the SPY's making lower lows. The NASDAQ is just up and down choppiness. All the banks are reporting today. And the market doesn't like uncertainty. So anytime when we get into earnings season, we really want to see these big companies put out just blowout earnings to motivate the market and push the market to go higher. Just looking up here at the SPY real quick, the SPY is just at resistance. And all of 2019, we've just been going up and up and up and up and up. So we're in earnings season. The overall market with the SPY, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, you could see we're at resistance, we're at resistance, we're at resistance. So we're due for a pullback, and you just got to align everything. Align everything and match it up. 3 out of 4 stocks follow the overall market. You don't ever want to fight the market. You always want to go with the market and ride the wave. Again, the VIX is just bouncing off of 12. That's pretty low volatility in the market. And you could see that with the SPY and the Russell 2000. You see how small the candlesticks are? There's not much volatility in the market. So you just got to put it all together, like I said, and put the puzzle together and connect the dots. But again, no trades today. I just didn't see anything I liked. And earnings season is here in full swing. So that's what a lot of people are going to be focused on, is a lot of these large cap stocks and what they're going to be doing for earnings and what the market is going to do. Is the market going to blow through the resistance and test all-time highs? Or are we going to get a pullback? It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this week plays out. But always remember, sometimes no trade is the best trade. And tomorrow is always a new day. It never hurts to just sit and observe, study, and practice. But that's going to be it for this, guys. Hope you guys had a great day. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and join the Trading Learning 101 community. Every day I'm going to start putting out a market recap just before afternoon. And again, I hope you guys had a great trading day. Keep going on that hustle. Keep grinding. Work hard. Study your butt off. It will all pay off. You just got to study, study, study. But alright, everyone, until next time, have that patience, have that discipline, and study, study, study. Alright, later, everyone.